Hey, Bob. Yeah, I don't know why Twitch is giving me like a warning saying the bitrate is too high, but this is the same exact bitrate I used before, so yeah, whatever. That's why we stream to two platforms, just in case. I can restart Twitch individually, I think. I don't know. But might also get started. No point in waiting longer than necessary. Okay, hopefully I set the scene correctly a minute ago. Yeah. Alright. Give this to the newbie, because fuck him. And I will do this easy one. Exactly. See, Bob, you're getting it. You're getting it. Hopefully I still remember the controls because I haven't played this much. Who's drinking on their lawn? Just drinking in the backyard, man. Have some civility. Frisbees? That's as decadent, man. Come on. I don't know why it keeps reminding me what sprint is. I think I know. I think I know. Ooh. Oh. Got it. Time to cut some grass. Let's see. Cut height is 2 3/8 to 2 3/4. Oh. Already at 2 3/4. That should be good. And let's do the Simpsons some proud. Do lawn care. In the rain. I'm really bad at this game. Look at that. Already messing up. Oh well. Homeowner stuff. Like I would know, I'm a millennial. Apparently this millennial has a fucking, like, Italian supercar. The hell? Like a Ferrari or some shit. Ah. Fair enough. Fair enough. I should pay attention, shouldn't I? Bring my chat window to the front. It was in the back and messing with me. Yeah, Smitty has some interesting videos on lawn cutting. He's having like this simulator battle between Power Wash Simulator and Lawnmower Simulator. And I don't know who's gonna win because I'm gonna admit I played Power Wash Simulator and I 100%ed it as soon as I could because it was so satisfying. While lawn care is enjoyable, but I don't think it's in the same tier personally. But I don't know. What do you think, Bob? Lawn care or power washing? What's your preference? Fair, fair. They're both very satisfying. It's hard to choose between the two, for sure. Yeah. I think one thing I also appreciate about power washing a little bit more is that it's better for a summertime chore because, like, you have effectively infinite water at your disposal to cool you off. I'm not saying direct the power washing yourself, but just the ambient water around you keeps you cooler than just sitting on a lawnmower. And the little experience I have with lawnmowers are always push lawnmowers, so it's probably not as enjoyable as ride-ons, I'm assuming. I'm sure those are a little better. But yeah, pushing, oh, too fast. Pushing a lawnmower in like 110-degree heat. No thanks. I'm done. I'm never doing that again. I'm actually getting to a decent rhythm here, in this patch at least. Now I say that, I'm gonna screw it up royally, because that's how karma goes. Ah. I think this is exactly what I needed for today. Today's been busy and hectic. Went shopping, and I try to go to the grocery store when there's less people there for pandemic reasons, plus my social anxiety. Uh, but despite that, at like 7:30 p.m., tons of people getting like their grocery on, and like, really, guys? 7:30 on a Wednesday, you're getting your snacks on. Uh, Luckily the cashier was really nice. Uh, it's like I in and out of there in like think half an hour. I'm terrible at shopping because like I browse the aisles and then like, oh, that looks tasty, I'll grab that. Oh, that looks tasty, I'll grab that. Yeah, they're I either go really early in the morning or more often as late as I can at night, even though the downside of that is like your produce selections get shitty and in general your selections get shitty because everyone grabs things throughout the day and they don't bother restocking that late because there's only idiots like me going in that late at night. But I don't know. It's when I was working at a grocery store, that was my shift, is like closing or closing into a night restock, and I don't know. It's just like so much more like low key and relaxed and laid back, less stressful of the day. Because like whenever I had like a morning or afternoon shift, customers were just like, "Oh my god, I gotta get my bread now." Like, lady, there's a whole aisle of bread. You'll be fine. But I don't know. There's in a major hurry. Like some of the staples, a grocery store will almost never run out of because it just there's just a large inventory of like milk, butter, eggs, um, bread that you don't have to freak out. But I don't know. Just the afternoon rush was just a little crazy for them, I think. That's why I liked working at night. We. Yeah, yeah. I do not miss being in customer service. That is not my jam. Credit to people who can do that, can tolerate it. I'm just people. I don't know. I just can't interface with them. Luckily, these days I don't have to. Uh, Probably the roughest I had when I was working there. I was also doing a second job as a paper delivery out of the back of a truck, under the table, of course, to get some extra money for college. So I'd have to go to school, take three AP courses, have an afternoon shift into an evening shift, then have a night shift in the truck, and then maybe get an hour's worth of sleep and go to school the next day. Those were busy days. Uh, but I made my way through it and was able to quit both jobs and eventually go to school. But that was not healthy. Not healthy at all. Do not recommend at all. I will say it was kind of nice that you can uh, discount, air quote, damaged goods, like canned goods. No one was super like critical of how damaged it was. So if you happen to mark a nearly perfectly good fit can at like Chef Boyardee, that's money in my pocket. I also got like I think it was like a small like 5 or 10% employee discount on store brand food, or like deli items or things that like are made on site. Um, so that was kind of cool. I remember in the fall, I I don't know why I got into this habit, but I got into the habit of having snacks where it was just basically like a personal pan pizza, but instead of pizza, it was pumpkin pie. Just literally have a small pumpkin pie to myself and just eat it in one sitting. Probably not healthy in retrospect, but it was a $2, $3 jump of sugar to keep me going. So I don't know. Oh come on, that's not overloading. That's just a little bit of grass. Keep your panties on. Of course, Bob, you would like that. I mean, you have an infamous sweet tooth. Oh, speaking of which, Bob, there was a sale on Ben and Jerry's at the grocery store, so it made me think of you. I wish I could have bought you some because it was like 25% off. Oh boy. Uh, was Nightbot being aggressive? Let me just get him out of here. I was being paranoid because like some streams I have, a bot or two will come in and just start spamming crap and dropping links and just being generally annoying. So far, past couple streams, I haven't been streaming regularly. I've been free of that, but I'm just there's a different instance in Nightbot over there, so be careful. I think since you're mod on the Twitch, you should be fine. But well, there's one way to find out. Yes, mod powers go. I need to go back and make you whatever the equivalent of a mod is on YouTube. I think it's a moderator. I don't know. YouTube's weird with their live stuff. Um, but for the same motivation, so you can slap down crap. Wield the bent hammer. Do you want to spam or do you want to eat spam? Just caps. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Uh, Porque no los dos. Wow, my Spanish must have really eroded over the years. I don't even remember what that means. Why? No, the two. Maybe. Oh, why not both? Duh. Took me a second there. Yeah. So this is what happens when you get, I won't say like, from like, uh, uh, super conversationally, like, uh, in a new language, but like I could usually stumble by in some conversations. This was back when I was, shit, like my early teenage years, and that's it. Like I spent several months in a Spanish-speaking country, multiple times, and that's just all gone. I know, like, at best, double digits number of words, most of those being numbers. Uh, it's just sad. I really have no excuse besides the fact that I just never used it. And, like, human languages are just not intuitive for me. They don't make sense. Their syntax and their grammar is like all over the place. Like that's probably the two most important categories though, because like you want to count your memes and meme your quantity. And then, is there really anything else that's really important? Yes, I speak fluent Narwhal. No, it's, I think at this point it's like programming languages. Yeah, there's a new one. I'll pick it up in a day, whatever. As long as like idiomatic syntax is still pretty easy to pick up, and like fluent, like functional is not too bad. Um, it's just a different like paradigm, I guess is the word, line of thinking. Like, idiomatic is all about managing and controlling and constraining state and state change, while functional is more just like having no state change, but the state change be in flux of the call stack as you're processing data. That's a very, very crude paraphrase of it, but that's essentially it, where you really don't store any data for the most part. You're just sort of like catch it, change it into a new version of it, and then pass it along to the next thing, which is definitely useful for like data processing, but and a lot of systems it's not as useful. I definitely like when you can like mix the two, because like in a given idiomatic language, you're obviously working with state, and that's pretty common because we live in a stateful universe. Like a thing exists with values over time, and you want to manage it. That's just generally how the world works. Functional kind of hides it in the call stack as it runs, but it's still kind of there. Yeah, that's more or less it. Just slap it right down on the table. Just flap it out. What was I saying? Oh yeah, mixing the two, like in more modern languages where you can have state stuff, but you can process it in a functional way, makes like the testing those subroutines super easy, because it's just like, oh, call a function with expected data, and you'll get a result, and then you're done, and then that's it. You don't have to orchestrate too much state ahead of it. You just basically have the method signature be your state like it was a functional language, which is really nice. It just not useful when like you're on a UI, for example, like a web page or a desktop app. It's like, oh, yeah, there's not a routine here. You just have like a text edit box. So like you have to react to the function thereafter. So you have to have a different mindset on that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I'm just babbling at this point about programming, which is probably the least interesting thing I'm most familiar with. It's either that or corporate finance. Who will win or lose? That is the question. That's fair. Who wants to talk about corporate finance? Or regulated and over-the-counter markets in the U.S. Capitalism. Essentially, yes and no. Capitalism is more like how a given industry power structure is organized. So if you have a given factory, for example, a capitalistic orientation of a factory ownership is that you have a few people at the top, the board or the CEO, the founder slash president, owning it, and then everyone works for that person, either directly or indirectly, and sells their labor to them. And the factory makes money on the surplus value of labor. Socialism, in contrast, would have the factory owned by the workers to varying degrees. Like socialism is a very broad umbrella, but effectively you'd have more ownership by the people operating the factory, so they can retain more of the surplus value of their labor in their own pockets, and they'd have more control over, again, in this case, factory, because they would be part owners or full owners in some sort of some sort of organization, usually democratic, like a co-op, but not necessarily. And one thing that's kind of interesting about that is since they're part owner, they have a direct monetary incentive to be as productive and efficient as possible because they make money off their own labor, proportional to the output instead of just a set rate as in a fixed wage or salary. Um, Either like any permutations between the two can operate in a market. Like markets are just a medium of evaluating a value of a given thing, uh, and exchanging it for another thing. That's it. That could be in feudalism. It can be in capitalism. It can be in a dictatorship. Um, it can be in communism. Uh, like the ownership structure of capital really doesn't 100% directly relate to the structure of, how things are exchanged. There's usually like, things intertwine. Obviously, it's not made in a vacuum, but in a theoretical model, you can have any combination of, free or unfree markets, and it's a spectrum. And generally, the most successful markets are the ones that are free but constrained. Vis-a-vis that you can buy and sell whatever you want, for however much you want, as long as like everyone who's participating in that market is on the level, right? Like you're not lying about what this thing is and what its actual value is, or what its potential value in the future is, or what it pays you over the long term, or you can't have coercion. You can't walk up to someone at gunpoint and say buy this shit and give me your money. That's not okay. Um, so essentially, that kind of regulation and structure of the market is helpful because that way participants have an intrinsic trust that when they go into the market, they can buy and sell things that are at a fair price. And yeah, it does happen. But anyways, buying or selling something at a given fair price. So in an idealistic situation, and again, theoretical, both people participate so they can engage in the trade. So person A buys something, person B sells that thing. And they're really, a trade is always an exchange of two instruments. Very commonly, one's a currency and the other one's a security. But not always. They can be between two currencies. You can have exchanges for securities in lieu, or all kinds of things. Like traders, when they work together and write contracts on a given market, they get really creative about this shit. But in general, like you're buying a stock and you're giving some sort of currency for it, or you're selling a stock and you get currency back from the market, and that's like one of the more common things. Derivatives are basically just that with an interaction, where with an option it's the right but not the obligation, and with a future it's the obligation to buy or sell a given security at a given time for a given price, which is kind of nice. It makes like price forecasting kind of interesting because it has its own economic model to its own. But you can usually take that information and how those are being priced as a proxy of what the market consensus is like a given security is going towards. So, if you have the S&P 500, there's options on that. They're cash settled, but you can buy and sell those, on the 16 option exchanges in America. And depending on what date you're talking about, what expiration and what price, you can see what the value of that given contract is, and you can see like, oh, okay, that's what people are thinking the delta is, or I don't know if that's the right Greek letter, but essentially the gap between the current point basis of the index and what people are thinking it's going to be at a given date. So it's theoretically really interesting. Now, if you're thinking about how do you calculate the the value of an option on your own, then it gets really complicated because then you have to sort of weigh in the intrinsic and extrinsic value of the underlying and spread it out over the time. and the time essentially splitting those two value sources, um, effectively at the beginning of an expiration for the furthest out option, uh, it's all extrinsic. It's potential value. And once you get closer to expiration, it becomes more and more intrinsic, the actual underlying value of security, because it has less time to move its price in the underlying market. But this is all like very like abstract theoretical. It gets really weird once you get to like specific instances, and when you're working with equities, um, they like to split and merge in the weirdest of ways. So like the value gets increasingly complicated when you can't really assess what the actual asset value is, like by its own, let alone the derivative on top of it. Remember when we were working with for like the Fox Disney merger split bullshit that happened like I think 2-3 years ago, or like Disney got some of Fox, but Fox split off the rest of itself, and it was a different thing, but it was kind of the same thing. How do you price that? Like, what was Fox worth at that point? Because you've sold off most of it, kind of, sort of, not quite clear. Uh, it just becomes really weird to think about at that point. That's why like simple like non-derivative securities it is really easy to think about, because you buy or sell a given thing in the world essentially. Um, uh, that's a very broad term, but like cryptocurrency or uh, an equity or an ETF, they're very comparatively simplistic, because you're just Disney is on the track to owning all media for the most part, which is sad because they're an evil mouse empire. Treat their employees terribly, or you have to have a smile quota if you work in their park. It's disgusting. Um, but to the greater point, yeah, that was like one example. Another one was like they do want all the money. Well, that's every company wants that. That's from their assumption. That's what they're designed to do, is make all the money. That's either a co-op or a capitalist corporation. They both want to make all the money. The only real difference is how much the workers within the company matter, really, kind of, in a general sense. But they both want to make all the money. Like, you don't think a co-op doesn't want to become billions upon billions of valuation? Like, come on. Those workers would love to be super wealthy off of that, and I don't blame them. Like, that's the heart of like economic theory is that people are selfish and greedy by default, and that greed kind of pushes efficiency, optimization, and innovation. In theory, in practice, without proper regulation and constriction on the market, where you have competition, once you get to an innovative part and you get shitty patent laws and monopolization of content, or technology, you lose innovation. You just become stifled in this quagmire. The opposite. You just get this. Uh, Disney's a really good example for IP, um, where they extended the copyright law like 4 times, towards like 75 years after the death of the descendant of the IP owner, uh, which is so stupid. Like, Walt Disney has been long dead, and the company still owns most of the IP because it's still so many years. Not the descendant, the immediate person, like 75 years after the immediate person, I think. Um, so many years from that inception, where they just have exclusive ownership over a given idea or novelty. And that's just not how IP was originally designed to do. It's supposed to have a limited protection for innovation, so you can monetize it and recoup the losses to that were invested in for that innovation. That's it. You're not supposed to hang on to Mickey Mouse for 14,000 years. That's disgusting. That's excessive. It should never have been that way. Yeah, that's just no bueno. Let's see what our locations are. I just cut your lawn, guy. What? Alright, you new guy, you get the hard one again. Have fun with that. Enjoy. Let's do... That one's kind of a bitch. That one's also kind of a bitch. Let's do this hard one. This should be fun, right? Yeah, it shouldn't be like the... It should have been like the 20 or 35 years that it originally was. That's plenty. If you can't recoup your investment in a quarter century, you invested way too much money. You should lose money. You made a miscalculation. And that's not even including like the things like trademark law, which is its own weird thing where you don't get it by default. You have to register it and renew it and protect it actively. That's weird. And like the judgments on it are also so subjective because like a given court would say these two things look alike or these two things don't look alike, and you know the perception of the people would change over time. So it's hard to really have an objective ownership of a trademark in general, right? So I don't know. Like I think that's really hard to quantify. But I don't know. I think just regular patent law and copyright law alone is protection enough for most innovations. Trademarks are really not there to protect innovations, though. Their motivation is to avoid customer confusion or impersonation. So I think that I guess that's where the discernment is different, and that makes sense. So I can't, make my own cola company and try and make my logo look like Coca-Cola, because obviously I'll be confusing people looking for Coca-Cola to buy my crappy cola from who knows where. And that's not okay because they're actually looking for cola. What's our height? 2 1/8 to 2 1/2. China is kind of weird because they have a socio-economic model that's socioeconomically communist or egalitarian, but their markets are very capitalist in orientation with a lot of regulation. What was our height? 2 1/8 to 2 1/2. That's good enough. So it's really hard to get like an equivalency on those, on that, because like they'll protect various IP laws as long as it's beneficial to the overall society, which in academically or conceptually makes sense. Who's honking their horn at a park? But in practice, it gets kind of weird because there's a lot of like centralized power within the controlling party, and that's where you can get into really weird ethical situations, and that's happened for a lot of people and have been negatively affected by it, right? A tree, but I don't know. They're like how many people they've lifted out of poverty over the past like quarter century is still astounding to me. Like there's unfathomable numbers. So they have to be doing something somewhat kind of right to be able to, actually materially benefit so many people. But on the other hand, they've also been doing a lot of horrible shit. You can't ignore that too. So it's like a mixed bag, I guess, is the long and short of it, is that they're 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 like, this is a weird situation where you have, you know, everyone can like have own house home ownership and freely, oh, not freely available, very affordable like meat products, which is for a country of over 1 billion people actually kind of impressive. Like the fact that anyone can pretty much get pork for dinner is actually, you know, it's an accomplishment. Um, but at the same time, the same government also has, uh, you know, uh, internment camps, or I don't know what you call it. Yeah, um, and exploited labor practices, and in the international stage, their IP respect and governance has been lackluster, I'd say. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. Um, fuck off with your horns, god damn. Um, thank you. Yeah, it's complicated. I hesitate to make a sweeping judgment because it's, I think, a very complicated and nuanced discussion that evolves as I know, as you know, information comes out, as more facts come out. But you know, like, you got to look at like their infrastructure plan that's like multi-decade in scope, that's making bridges and roads like all over Asia for trade amongst like a dozen nations. It's like, okay, the United States have never even tried this, let alone accomplish it. The closest we've done is the international highway thing, which is now falling apart 50 years later, or 70 years later. Um, so if they can accomplish that, it's going to be beyond impressive. And honestly, there's still some lessons we can learn from China. Not all, obviously. We want to take the good and hopefully leave behind the bad. Like, all countries have a good and bad. But just, you got to recognize. Fucking sirens now? Really? Like, they've actually, like, I won't say mastered, but definitely like discovered a lot of bag of tricks in making affordable high-speed rail. Per mile, their high-speed rail is like 40% the cost of ours for the same mile. That's true. It's the cameraman has to get to suffer. Um, anyways, yeah, like high-speed rail, like they have been winning that for many, many years, and we are, we being in the United States of America, are seriously behind on that particular uh, thing, and it shows. Where, you know, if I want to get somewhere, I have to settle for these private airlines, which are dog shit. Let's be real here. Um, or ride Amtrak and go like 20 miles an hour, so I have to take a month to get across the country. Like, that's, no, that's despicable. High speed rail would be a few hours. I don't know a few, but you know, a handful of hours to get serious distance. Um, Public transit in general is sorely lacking, even up, you know, in the Northeast, where it's way more prevalent in other cities. Besides New York, it's not great. Not great. And New York was great, and now it's great and aging. So, meh. Nah, Bob, if you were to take the train to go across the country currently, book at least 2 weeks. I swear. It's like a week to go halfway. It's insane. Luckily, it's like sleeper cars, so it's like super comfortable, and you have like a diner car and all that kind of stuff, so it's kind of nice. So it's like a mini vacation in that sense, but no, it goes like 80 miles an hour. You can almost drive faster. Oh, for high speed rail. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for high speed rail, that's That's where you're going like 200-300 miles per hour, and it's like, oh, okay, now we're actually cooking here. We're cooking some super gas. This traffic sound is bullshit. Who knows? That's why I still have like some hope for Hyperloop, even if it ever actually, manifests into something. Oh yeah, you took the train not too long ago, right? But anyways, with Hyperloop will look promise like, oh, this is high-speed rail, but it solves a lot of the cost problems by digging underground in a way. Yeah, 12 hours. Boston to Philly, or Philly to Boston. Either way, that's insane. That should be like 2 hours, or maybe 4. Either way, it's way too long for the distance you're actually traveling. There's like 3 or 4 states. Come on. America's big, but it's not that big. Anywho. Right, like, there should be, like, express lines that are nonstop for major cities. And then, like, you hop off to a local line to get to, like, maybe you're going to, like, some podunk town that's, like, maybe like 50 or 100 miles away from, a major city. Then you take the small regional train to get there, and then, within walking distance of where you want to actually be. It's how, like, Japan does it. It's freaking wonderful. So many people there just don't own cars because you don't need it. And that's just an amazing concept. Like, Tokyo is a massive, sprawling city. And so many of its citizens don't own cars because they don't need them. Because the public transit is so good. Makes me jelly, I'm not gonna lie. Super jelly. I'm starting to get hungry. I ate before I went shopping, so I wouldn't be hungry while shopping because that's a big no-no. And start talking about jelly, I'm gonna get hungry. I'll probably have a snack before I go to sleep later tonight, whenever that is. Took the week off because Labor Day, and I didn't want to deal with work for a bit. So I've been up till like 4 a.m. every night because I am nocturnal. Bob, you know that better than I, because how many nights have we gone like playing Civ and it's like one more turn? Why is the sun coming up? Fasting is a bitch. Luckily, you get to do it mostly at night. So if you take, if you go actually manage to fall asleep, you sleep through most of it. But still, that can be brutal. I've done that. Overnight fasting is not much fun. I remember. But all member berries. When nostalgia becomes manifest copium. Let's finish up this patch. I'm gonna have to refill my tank, won't I? That's gonna be annoying. Oh, Bob, have you played that new Humanity, whatever, Civ-ish kind of game? I heard some decent things about it, but I haven't actually invested much time into looking into it. I know you're hip on the Civ games to some degree. Humankind, yeah. I wasn't that far off, Mankind, Humankind. Um, but yeah, like I've seen like a little bit of gameplay. Yeah, okay. So we'll see. I don't know. For me, like Civ 6, I just don't like the district system. I'm sorry. Like I get that it's different. I just don't think it's as fun for how I like to play it, which is being stupid, to be honest. Or you get to nuke Napoleon, and then Beijing. And then you go and bully the Zulu because there have to be assholes. Check my privilege. Okay, sure. Current your argument. Get out of here with that. So this patch is done. That's going to be a monster. Let's do a smaller one real quick. Anyways, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Common occurrence. Running trials. What kind of trials? If you don't mind. You don't have to answer that, but I'm just curious if you want to or are willing to. I guess restream is being dumb. I don't know. I'm not dropping frames. Latency is kind of just annoying on YouTube, I'm guessing. Higher throughput. Oh, okay. Cool. For that makes it interesting because, like, it's kind of interesting to see how far you can push the hardware without breaking it necessarily, or if you're going to break it in a controlled manner where you can recover. They probably knew. Napoleon's at in the back end. Ooh, fancy. Is that for like the blowers or the actual like something else? I remember you were talking that you had some interesting work done with like the air blowers to try and increase the heat. That was a while ago, right? Or was my memory failing? Okay. That's cool. Awesome. So I remember you were talking about that, so you can increase the thermal output of the heater, so you can get more material melted and moving. So that was really cool. Like that sounded really interesting. Much more than mowing lawns. How's the pupper and cat doing? I haven't asked you about that in a while. I'm sure AJ's still being AJ. Aww. Is he just being attention starved or is he just being a brat? Guessing his age is probably being a brat. That's good. I'm bagling. Uh, I'm guessing with like the extra space and the yard, that's going to be really helpful and good. So that's definitely positive. Yeah. And once he's outside, 5 seconds will go by like, oh, there's actually nothing interesting about the lawn right now. Can I come back inside? 20 minutes later, I want to go back outside. Wash, rinse, repeat ad nauseum. That's, great. Oh yeah, I know. I know. Lest you forget, I had many, 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 many dogs growing up, and I have suffered so many of these common problems. Yes, I'm hacksourcing your camera. I'm in your internets. Stealing all your IPs and your gigabytes. And you can't stop me. Though you will try. You have to get it in the mail along with Chex Quest. Speaking of internet, were you able to get the same kind of fiber link? Or did you have to do a different internet at the new place? That's good. Even though, you know, uh, the provider is not exactly great, at least you get a decent amount of bandwidth out of them when they want to behave. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like they're, if I recall correctly, they're kind of mediocre for fiber. So, eh, it's better than DSL cable or satellite, except for maybe Starlink, which is has potential. Has a lot of potential. We'll see how that develops. I just don't think it'll work well in urbanish environments. I've already said that because the density is kind of weird, but I could really change the game for internet access. Like, be able to go pretty much anywhere and get like gigabit internet with decent latency anywhere. That's going to be really cool once that gets like truly, you know, hate to use the pun, but off the ground. Oh, shit. I cut down a flower. I blame the car alarm. It's a public park. I'll do what I want. It is coming out of my paycheck. You're right. I'm going to have to pay for that. Even said fine incurred. There's some like street cop meter maid bullshit like watch me cut grass like, oh, nicked a flower, here's a citation, see you in court. Motherfucker, this is like $5, get the hell out of here. That's why we gotta defund the police, because there's harassing innocent gardeners. Can't have that. Exactly. Like, why would you show up to court to contest a $5 fine? Or less than that. Did I actually say? No, I didn't say. At the end, it will say how much of my fines for damaging property. My job is to damage grass. What do you think I'm doing here? God. Asshole. Anywho. Oh, Bob, if it gets too annoying with the delay, let me know. We can always hop over my Discord and we can voice chat there if that's easier. Damn, it's nature chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. Oh wait, no, here's some. God damn these horns. I swear to fucking Jesus. Like who does that? Who just wails on a horn indiscriminately in the middle of a city? Like what is the point? Like never understood that. That's fair. Yeah, you have work and you have to be productive and responsible and blah 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 blah. which is fair. Can't say I blame you. I'll probably do this. This will be probably my last mow. Probably get a good amount of money out of it. And probably can start looking at upgrading my HQ. New Yorkers, Los Angelinos, pretty much any major metropolitan city is like, let's be loud and annoying. I'm looking at you, Boston. Atlanta too. Fucking hell. Center City, Philly too. Fucking hell. Yeah, any major city is like, they just forget what horns are for when you get to that kind of population density, and I don't know why. I don't get it. Like, oh, we're in bumper to bumper traffic for the next hour. Let me be annoying and not contribute anything to this problem. Exactly, like, so entitled, so, like, undeservingly opinionated. And to what end? Like, what are you thinking you're accomplishing by laying on your horn when you're stuck in bumper to bumper traffic? Like, you're just making it worse for yourself because you have to hear it the most because you're closest to the horn. No one else is going to do anything about it or care in that situation. So why bother? Why bother? That's my point. Well, I don't get people, Bob. I don't get people. They're weird. They don't make sense. They're irrational creatures. That, paraphrasing, yes, people be tripping. So that's more of a normal horn usage. Like, oh, you're at a green light, buddy. You have to pay attention. Like, wake up, go. That's fine. It's a little annoying, but that I understand. It's like, I don't get that. Why lay on a horn? Just why? Like that. That jackass. Like, what is your deal, buddy? Someone not hold you enough as when you were a kid? Do you need a binky? That's a satisfying turn. I know it says warning, low fuel, but I'm still like close to half game. Calm down. Calm your titties. Keep your shirt on. I don't know what to tell you, man. Restream is being dumb. Test again. Fair. Yes, it's the best way to advertise your penis size. It's just how long you hold down the horn is the inverse correlation of your penis length and girth. That is true. It's like that, as well as like how loud your exhaust pipes are, as well as like how lifted your truck is also correlated with, inversely with penis size and length. And the, said people that have these particular things want to advertise it, and tell the world like how insufficient my genitalia is. Just like, a while back when Ben Shabiba was having this long, drawn-out conversation about how he hates wet pussy. It's like, okay, I feel bad for your wife, guy. Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm fortunately mostly spared from that nonsense over here, but I bet you get quite a bit of it down there. Driver's going, yeet, yeet, I got my lift, son. American trucks, brother. I don't get it. Yeet, yeet, I'm dumb and I drive a stupid vehicle. Yeet, yeet. I don't get it. These are the same people that, take horse paste for the current pandemic when they have a free, safe vaccine. I I don't understand it. I don't. It's beyond me. I can empathize with a fair amount of situations. Really. Even the ones, grounded in uh grounded in misinformation. Like I can somewhat understand that, but at a certain point where like, oh, you're eating horse paste with a horsey picture on it, that is the better medical path than taking something that 98% of doctors have taken? Maybe. I think they have more brain worms than horse worms, to be honest, but that's just my opinion, man. I don't get it, Bob. Like, we live in the dumbest timeline. The dumbest timeline. Fuck your trash can. Um, yeah. That is a good point. Maybe they just have, horse worms in their brain and they're trying to take the horsey paste to take care of it. Uh, I saw, like, multiple people posting, like, their next wonder cure for COVID's gonna be Brazilian python venom. Like, you're literally just gonna take, poison venom Wait till that becomes popular. Wait till that starts being, the reason why hospitals are filling up with dumbasses. And at a certain point, like, when you're running low on ICU space and hospital space, and you have to start rationing care, maybe some of these people don't deserve the first line of care when they're being this dumb. Like, I don't know. That's a little bit Darwinistic of me, but god damn, like, sometimes nature is trying to tell you something. Well, in fairness, Bob, if you're thinking of it that way, the horse paste is 100% effective killing, COVID by killing the hosts. If you take enough ivermectin, you'll kill COVID by way of killing the host. You just have to, really crank up the dosage. You can't, pussyfoot around with it. For anyone who's listening who can't tell, that's fuck your trash can. That's sarcasm. Don't take ivermectin unless you actually are directed by a doctor and you have a parasite. And especially don't take the animal version, because that's just dumb. I like when it comes to like transplants, right? There's a finite number of organ transplant donors, right? There's so many hearts and lungs and kidneys that become available that are compatible with a given patient who needs it. And, for livers, people that are actively alcoholics don't get the donor liver because they won't get as much mileage out of it. For lack of a better, term. They're not going to use it responsibly. They're not going to get the most life out of it. And at a certain point, like, this has to go to that same kind of calculus where, like, this person is not getting the same mileage out of medical help of getting them to stay alive. They're going to, continue to hurt themselves by being this dumb. And if you're short-handed, maybe spend more energy on people that are worth, that are more able to be saved in the long term. I don't know. That's very, macabre and dark. But fucking hell, there's hospitals like in the Midwest that are 100% capacity or over capacity. There's, morgue trucks showing up again, where they're running out of spaces to stack the bodies between COVID and dumbass ivermectin, overdosers. Why? Why? Unless you have like a sound reason, like there's no justification not to get the vaccine these days. It's free. It's everywhere. You walk in literally to any pharmacy, you can get it. It's super easy. People put shit out there. Yeah, I've heard about that. Luckily I've skipped the pictures because I don't want to see that. Some. Yeah, like what? When you have a finite number of medical resources to help people, it feels like at least some of these people should be lower on the list, like you were saying. Because, let's say you had a mass campaign of people like stabbing their own hands with knives, and you had huge education campaigns saying don't stab your hand with knives, and people still do it. At some point you stop stitching up hands because they're too dumb, because they're going to keep stabbing their own hands. I don't know. Loud and it's getting late, so I should close my door. There we go. Now it's the intimate hour. Just a man This long. Uh, I don't know what this is going to mean in the long term. Like when we're at this point where we have to tell people not to eat, take animal deworming paste. That has to be a conversation en masse. What the fuck is wrong with us? Really? Like, really? This is the conversation we're gonna be having now? Fucking hell. Like, we were lucky in that COVID was a respiratory virus that we had years of research on because of SARS-1 and MERS, if I remember correctly. And we had the mRNA technology basically ready to go. We had candidates within weeks of the sequencing of the genome. How hard is it going to be to get people to invest in the same kind of like solutions for the next kind of pandemics? It's going to happen. It's a matter of when, not if, right? How fucked will the world be at that point? Like, you have, I don't know, like a parasite, like, Ebola or whatever, or I don't know if Ebola is a parasite, but it's another contagion. That's make it like super contagious or something. I don't know. But you have another family of illness that has this kind of mortality rate. It's still super, infectious and whatnot. I shudder to think what's going to happen in that kind of situation, that kind of scenario. Because we're already having so much trouble with the plainly obvious solution with this disease. And when natural selection can't take its course and weed out, obviously, the, the individuals in the population that can't keep themselves alive, what does one do? It's just depressing really quickly, I guess. That's for sure. Yeah, my brain just stops functioning at trying to comprehend this line of thinking that horsey paste, yeah, that's reasonable. Okay. I know like the world was, has some general stupidity in it, but I never thought, I couldn't imagine it being this dumb. I honestly. Guess the lesson learned is like never underestimate the human capacity of ignorance and stupidity. Never underestimate it. If you think someone, will do something even against their own self-interest, against patently obvious information, they will still do it if someone can convince them to do it. That's apparently not what they do. But now that you think about, like, every product we buy that's like non-trivial has like the dumbest warning labels on it because someone has done something super stupid with it. So I guess, in hindsight, when you think about it, it really shouldn't be that surprising. I remember I had a friend in college who had a mini fridge that had a key mechanism on it, and there had to be a warning on it saying, "Don't lock your baby in the fridge." Really? Could not imagine that being bad. Don't lock the baby. Yeah, that is kind of funny. Like the same boomers that were ripping on the Tide Pod bullshit, which ironically became so big because of the boomers blasting in the news. A lot of them are the same ones taking horse dewormer now. The cosmic irony there is just palpable. It's truly palpable. I remember last week or this past weekend about a new COVID variant called Mu that was still being emerged. It was like coming out of Peru or something like that. It was still not a very concern yet. It was, just barely reaching very interest by the WHO, and it's now already in like 49 states within in under a week. We don't know much about it yet still, but once we do, I'm super hesitant of what we're going to learn about it, and it's probably not going to be very good. Strange times, and what made Mu kind of scary is that at least on the genetic level, it looks like it has the potential to be able to evade some of the vaccine antibodies. So that's good. That's just great. You know, invest a better part of a year to get pretty good vaccines for all that effort to become moot. Great. Lovely. Yeah, sorry to drop that kind of news bomb on you, Bob. Especially if you're, going to get back to bed soon. Fill up my gas tank real quick. Clear my blades. And hop on the horse. Yeah, that's good, but it's like if we were actually halfway decent with our approach on this pandemic, we would have been over with it. Like New Zealand essentially locks down the entire country by like one case. And they had a massive spike, all of 20 cases in the past month. And they're going to track that down, quarantine it, treat it, handle it, and then move back to normal lives, even without like many vaccines there yet. Iceland has had like 4 deaths in the past like 3 months from COVID. Going to bed, Bob. I hope you have a good night. Sleep well. Hopefully, my dire news has not been overtly traumatic, and you can rest well. And hopefully, your blood test goes well. Reminds me, I'm overdue for my blood tests. Not like I want to go to any medical facility though. Fucking hell. in the new Abyssal expedition. I like the changes they did with the like the wilderness tiles being permanently captured kind of thing. Okay, yeah. Have a good night, Bob. Take care. In hindsight, it's like I don't know why they didn't put that feature in from the get-go, but it's so welcome now because it makes like traversal so much easier. Yeah, I'm actually going on my way to like capture all of those tiles just to make like keep the bridge contiguous when I'm like moving up my villages to towns, etc. It's definitely a very welcome change. I'm glad they put that in. Fucking car alarms, I swear to God. Yeah, as best as possible. Like, I won't go out to like the edges of the map unnecessarily, but wherever I can, I try and keep the bridge going to some degree. Good night, Bob. Sleep well. And car horns. Hate them too. Making progress. Still quite a bit to do though. I had for dinner. Sandwiches, fried chicken, instant pizza, instant soup, Chef Boyardee. I'm terrible with decisions. Now, to anyone who watches from the VOD, do drop in a comment to see like how far you've gotten in this game, or if you like it, or if you are more of a fan of Power Wash Simulator or another simulator game. I've heard good things about Ranch Simulator, and I thought that might be fun to try out at some point. I like it because it has a little bit like of I guess Minecraft kind of vibe, because you get to build stuff in it more freeform. You know, within like structural limitations, but the sim emphasis is not as much, and it's co-op, which I think is definitely my jam. A lot of co-op games. Playing a lot of Satisfactory. Like update 4 came out and it's pretty stable, and the mods have all caught up for the most part. It's done with that playthrough, so I have to figure out what to do next after that. Maybe I'll spend more time in Monster Hunter World, or something else. Who knows? Still have the remaster for Saints Row the Third. That should be a ball of fun, I'm sure. I don't know who it. I think Volition was either Volition or Deep Silver did the writing for that, and they're zany assholes. I swear, it's so good. And the remaster looks really good with like the upgraded graphics and everything. Hopefully it's more stable. Saints Row 2 was super unstable way back in the day for PC. 3 and 4 weren't too bad. Plus, I would hope that another Saints Row game is in the works. And be curious where that ends up, because that should be a lot of fun. Should probably take a look at Halo Infinite. Even though I haven't played Halo 5, probably some good content to be had there. I remember playing the shit out of Halo 2 and 3 way back in the day on my 360. And had a bunch of fun with that. I don't know why, like the co-op in Halo is just so much fun. I guess because like just the stupidest things will happen randomly because reasons. It just has like this organic comedy to it, I guess. Chat. smooth turn. Hoping that as I scale up, the headquarters get more employees to make more simultaneous job runs and more income. Start really upgrading the mowers I can own. This one's like so freaking slow and tiny, and the gas tank is too small. The only thing that's good about it is that it turns really well. And it's a mulcher, so you don't have to worry about the cleanup. But still, there's bigger mulcher ones that are a lot more advantageous for these kind of jobs. Hopefully there's one that I haven't seen that has a soundproof cage, so I can stop hearing these stupid horns. That would be nice. Just go drive in traffic and, you know, teach them a lesson. Give them the 104 with the fisticuffs. I don't know. I lived in big cities. They're not this noisy by default. There is the sound of an asshole in this game right now. Has to honk the horn all the time. Tell the whole world how important he is. See? There he goes. Perfect timing, by the way, bud. Oh, there he goes again. Major asshole. Reporting for duty. Well, at least the bird sounds are kind of calming. It's kind of nice. I had to say it, didn't I? Had to fucking say it. Almost done. We're approaching 90%. Should probably ramp down pretty quickly because we're in the last like patch, I think. Yeah. Just one more flower bed. It's gonna be kind of annoying, right? Yeah, because we already did the work around the other two. up. Clean off this edge. Round this off. And get back onto this. There we go. That happened. There we are. Palm stretch. That edge. It's still raining. God damn. There we go. Now it's like 3% to go. Hope I won't fuck it up too badly. nice and clean. Back and just do the edge of the flower bit, I think. Get that cordoned off and cleaned up. There we go. So, that back over a flower. Heh. Fuck your flower. Alley mowing the 1%. Where is the van? There it is. Vroom. I wish there was a DLC to this game that had lawnmower races. That might be interesting. Oh, fuck your ground too. Damn, that was a big one. Oof. How much money I make? Let's see. $1 for the flour, $9 for the running over the trash can. Sounds about right. Body mowing park ranger. Okay. Stop. Get him. That's gonna be a grind for that, huh? Okay. Side discharge, rear discharge. There's the mulcher. See, this one looks like it'd be really good for the big ones. Side, rear. Collector, this would also be a good one, I think, but that's even more expensive, right? At 31,000, yeah. So I'm saving up for this guy. It's only 10 grand. This shouldn't take me too long, I think. This one actually has a wider deck. So that's why it's a little bit better right now. These are actually even bigger, but they're discharge types. That means you... Attachments available, mulch plate. Wait a minute. That doesn't make it mulching, because if I... Oh, okay, let's do a quick... Take this to the newbie, he gets the shitty one. I'll do this one with the new one. I'm just curious. I didn't realize there was attachments that will change the games. I thought I had to save up for the bigger mulcher ones, but there's mulcher attachments that effectively get me. What was that? Where I want to be. Fuck, saving up. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this is so much better. I'm an idiot. Yeah, look at that go. Meow. Yeah, this maneuverability is nice too. Fucking hell. I'll knock this out in no time. Okay, I can still overload it, but I can get like 4 times the speed, I swear. This is so much better. How did I not know this? Oh, missed a pot. Missed a spot. Let's fix that. This is so much better. So much better. How did I not know? record time on this lawn. Yeet. I guess like the maintenance is more expensive on it, but that's fine. I don't care. I got my lackey to pull in the most of the money. I'm just doing this for fun. Woohoo! So I wonder what this is. Spiral, probably the less efficient pattern. That's probably not great, but whatever. Damn, the handling on this thing is obscene. Wee. Oh, fuck your ground. Fuck your ground. Too fast for my own good. Man. This thing hauls butt. Here we go. I'm making record time on this lawn, I swear. I'm like halfway done almost in under 10 minutes. So much time wasted. up. Meow. Nope. A lawnmower should be like this. Super fast, able to do mud donuts, and turns on a dime. It's amazing. Huh. I should go back look at the VOD to see my first run of this map with the prior lawnmower, what the time was. See how much I improved, because I know, pretty sure, the dramatic improvement, even though my steering sucks. Part of it is because I'm also playing on a controller, which makes like the handling kind of tricky. It's that strip there. I should go clean that up. There we go. Better. Oh, that little U-turn there, perfect. Give that if I tried. Yep, so you already screwed that one up. Under 15 minutes. That has got to be a record for me. I'll get up on the ramp at first. Fuck your lawn. Fuck your lawn. $15 in fines. Idiot. Stupid idiot. Oh boy. Alright. I think that's gonna do it for me tonight. I think that's enough cutting grass, mowing lawns, shredding grounds, ugh, landscaping. Is there another? I don't know. Anywho. Good night, chat. Good night, Twitch. Good night, YouTube. Hope you had fun. I know I did it for a little bit. It was fun to hang out with Bob. Maybe I'll play a game with him soon. Wouldn't mind some rounds in Civ to stream because those are fun and stupid because we play co-op on that. And you're not supposed to play co-op on it, but we'll just break the game by playing co-op. Anywho, good night, good day, afternoon, good whatever you are. Take care, stay well. Good night, good luck.